Chapter 14, Scorched. With Joey back to normal, Bakura is the only one still under Scott's mind control, but no one that's now one there. Well done, spell checkers. But no one knows where he is. Yugi initiates a frantic search. Suddenly they are attacked and thrown into confusion by enemy forces. Vaxi Island, the main base of the Resistance, has fallen to an unknown enemy. Fewer in number and surprised by the attack from behind, the Resistance is unable to continue fighting. Yugi quickly leads his force over the Gigantsiep Strait to Vaxi, only to face yet another surprise. Red 2 standing by, all four lit, and in the green, welcome back to YuGiOh, the Falsebound Kingdom. We are chasing down Bakura. I'll probably give Mai a little bit of a break again, though we will need her pretty soon. Let's get Joey back into the mix. I mean, I could take absolutely everyone along, but I do have to take Fizdus and Shimon along for the ride, and good old Mako's coming as well. So, let me see. We did get a few new monsters along the way. We got Panther Warrior. Does that come in at level 1? Yes, it does. Pretty solid. Oh, jeez Louise! Look at those action points! I'm impressed. I'm really impressed. So, it is interesting to note that since we have used Metal Morph on the Red Eyes Black Dragon, it is no longer part of our roster. We will have to retrieve the Red Eyes in another playthrough. As you can see, we can't select it, but we do have the Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. I will probably... You know what? I'm probably going to take Gazelle off Tristan's team. Because Panther Warrior is nearly as strong, and Panther Warrior has more AP to begin with. Plus, Silver Bow and Arrow, which I have way too many of, is also a thing. Oh yeah. So, Panther Warrior is probably going to be there to dish out damage, big time. And, yeah, we'll be able to knock a few heads around. Joey's team should go pretty well. Flame Swordsman is going to stick through it. And he's got a little bit more oomph from Red Eyes Black Metal Dragon. Mako's still holding up pretty well, but I'll be needing Yugi. No new abilities, which is a bit of a pain. Panther Warrior comes with Field Adept. None of them have any abilities. They're still the same. And they're still the same. So, we still can't use Bakura. That's just how it goes. But we'll get some levels into Bakura later on. He's going to be helpful. So, it's very appropriate that I'm recording the chapter named Scorched right in the middle of a really rotten summer where the days don't end. Or at the very least, they're basically the same. Let's get going and see exactly what's happened in Sugut. We do have a new monster team to get. This is terrible. Everything's been burned to the ground! Is this the work of a new enemy? So, we have to free Telenos Castle. Our enemies coming in. Ground-based enemies. Let's get the cannon. And we are facing strings. We've got a steady supply of enemies coming right at us. What I'm going to do, though, is send Yugi up to the north along the... I've got to send Yugi along the coast. So if I send him about here and then go north... Okay, so Joey's team should switch out and come back in. They'll take first watch. What else have we got coming in? So the lead team, there are two teams that are the same. Taya should definitely take that last one. Dark Magician, if you go along the coast, we should be able to find an enemy monster team. So, mostly a little bit of planning. We'll see what happens. Have Mako ready to go. Fistus probably should have first watch in all fairness, but Joey should be good to go. Just gotta hope I find that monster team. It is somewhere along the coast. Probably should have sent something with a much bigger units. Oh well, that's kind of tempting fate, but here is our monster team. We have Aqua Dragon, we have Suijin, and we have Fortress Whale. Fortress Whale was famous as one of Mako's ace monsters, but he didn't really get to do very much with it. Or at least Joey didn't, so Fortress Whale is incredibly strong. Holy crap. Well, let's start wailing on it. Haha, terrible puns. Let's hope my power is enough. Fortress Whale actually counts as a machine this time around. We also have Suijin as a spirit and Aqua Dragon as, unsurprisingly, a dragon. Fortress Whale is a fish. We will be introduced to these monsters later on. So, I remain confident in the abilities of my monsters, because these are slow. Now, if I get some good magic on the way, Dark Magician Girl will learn level 4 magic, and Dark Magician learns level 5 magic, so they can do a lot of damage. If they get their special attack, they can tear teams apart. As you can see, the fact that these monsters are water adept is allowing them to do a lot of damage. Looks like I'd better be healing Dark Magician because they're probably going to get about 4 or 5 attacks in a row after hosing him down. Oh. I can't heal him. Because I don't have any... Oh. Alright, well I didn't know that was going to happen, but I'll take it. I wanted to defend just in case. Couple more attacks and I should be able to take Fortress Whale down. If their attacks miss, I get more points. Has he gone after Dark Magician Girl? Yes. Speaking of attacks missing, I guess that's Whale Fail. Haha! Bad puns. Or more cheesy rhymes and things like that. There we are. Defense broken, but that meant that if they had been able to attack, Dark Magician would have survived. Alright. Oh! Speaking of not surviving, I reckon the turn order did that on purpose. Maybe I shouldn't have mocked Fortress Whale. That's really bothersome. I might have to start this again. 'Cause I swear the game messes with the turn order. That was just some really unfortunate RNG there. And we got a critical, which didn't do anything. If only I did have... Okay, they missed. That's more points for me. Okay, Aqua Dragon has slightly less health. Let's focus on that. I'm not sure what the result of this battle is going to be. Because I certainly didn't... Ooh. Well, I can't get KO'd here. They've got the RNG on their side. That's something fierce. I'd need a critical to definitely decide it. Now, if I hadn't got stitched up by the RNG, I'd definitely win this one. Let me see. Let me see what the results are. Oh, we actually got it. Somehow. There is a way to see what the battle scores actually are. But we got the chocolates. And we have earned 3 new monsters. I'll try and introduce them where I can. Suijin, Fortress Whale, and Aqua Dragon, which are all level 1. Fortress Whale's international debut was in Tournament Pack 7, then it reappeared in Speed Duel Scars of Battle. In Japan it debuted and made its only appearance in Dark Ceremony Edition, a tournament release pack featuring ritual monsters. Interestingly, Fortress Whale was once considered quite valuable due to being really hard to pull, actually a super rare, in a set which had a very small release. The tournament packs were kind of hard to get. It's not very good in terms of raw stats, and even summoning most early ritual monsters was a complete nightmare, but that little quirk of rarity still made it worth having for a bit of prestige. It is also the only fish-type ritual monster, even if whales and mammals are not fish. To complain about that is kind of splitting hairs though. According to its card art, it does appear to have a fish-like tail. Well, first fight back for Joey. And our enemy doesn't have any healing as far as I know. Probably... Oh, I'm dumb. I didn't put... Did I put barricades in? I don't know if I did. Well, at the very least, let's try taking down Neck Hunter. With a very fancy explosion. Oh, not quite. Probably could have gone for Swordstalker, but there you go. Ah. Alright, so the one that one goes down. Oh well. Alright, so we should be able to take down Swordstalker pretty easily with all our attacks. Neck Hunter's got reasonable defense, so I want to wait until it does something else. Like that. We should be able to take him down now. I mean, quicker than I was expecting. This one. And there we go. That's that one, and Flame Swordsman dispatches it. I think Flame Swordsman actually swings to a right-handed stance, to a right-handed strike from holding the blade left-handed. Another AP for Robotic Knight. Black Metal Dragon jumps up to level 6. Pretty handy. Pretty solid. So. Right. Fizdus. Next one after Fizdus should be Mako. So I probably will leave Shimon to take on Strings. I keep forgetting that... Oh yeah, he is actually called Strings. My brain goes, his name is Steve the Mime. I've definitely watched the Abridged series too much. So, this one might be a bit tougher. Dungeon Worm is a pretty formidable opponent, and... Let's see, does Armored Lizard actually count... it's a beast, since it's a reptile in the games. I really should put a barricade up. I've been forgetting to put the barricade up. Dungeon Worm is usually the strongest and most annoying, so we'll keep that one locked down with a bit of time magic. Or not. Thank you, game. 2 for the tempting fate counter in 1 episode. Probably should have had Fistus take on the first team. This could be tough. I don't exactly know when. I don't exactly know when Thousand Dragon gets its special move. But if you want to be a completionist, wind up getting the monsters at level 99. You have to put in a lot of work. Right, we might be able to take on Dungeon Worm, but this team really is best at chipping away at wounded enemies from cannons. There we go. Really should have put that barricade up. Definitely. Gonna have to fuse... I think the game is doing this on purpose. I am absolutely 100% convinced the game is doing that on purpose now. Twice in 3 battles. That's not a coincidence. Well, actually it is. It's a coincidence because once is happenstance, twice is coincidence, the third time is a pattern. But mind you, I know the way RNG works to... I'm surprised we got the victory on that one. Poor old Time Wizard. Better put that barricade in, did I? I think I did anyway. Nope, too late now. Oh well, Mako, you're up. Fistus is a bit of a joke character anyway. Which is kind of unfortunate. Oh, great, we get the full strength one. Fantastic, I really wanted the barricade up. Alright, so once again, concentrate fire on Dungeon Worm. It's annoying enough as it is. It's even worse when it gets the ability to poison you. It's good when you finally get it, but that's much, much later in the game. Well, so yeah, we've all seen what RNG can do. It feels like in some games, the RNG does actually know what's going to happen and will wind up fudging things accordingly. It certainly feels like that in games like, say, 100% Orange Juice. Whatever the result that will screw you over or be funniest, the game will procure that. Sorry, the game will procure that. It's like playing Pokemon. When you play through the game, you know perfectly well that if one of your attacks has like less than 90 accuracy, it's going to miss way more often than not. If your attacks have 100% accuracy and you're hit with sand attack or some sort of accuracy decreasing move, or the AI uses double team, you are not going to hit them. You will immediately wind up suffering from Imperial Stormtrooper Marksmanship Academy. If you get infatuated, you will generally not be able to attack. Although, I'm not entirely sure if that's all true, because I can say in all honesty that at least in Generation 1, Supersonic worked quote-unquote properly. I've still got to finish my research, but it was going around about what I'd expect as average for the tests of human-controlled Supersonic and the AI affecting itself in Confusion. Now, if you're wondering why in later games Confusion seems to be pretty useless, it's because they actually changed things a bit. Confusion now only hits the opponent 1/3 of the time. It was 50% before, but there's now a 1 in 3 chance they'll hurt themselves in Confusion. So it is actually a lot more useless. Infatuation is the really, really frustrating one. Like, I wound up I was playing through Heart Gold version just for fun with Pokemon I'd never used before. I wound up setting up really well with my Onix against Whitney's Miltank. It was a drag. Like I set up against Clefairy, to the point that Waterfall did barely anything. Like, maxed things out with Harden, and it was a complete drag. Wait, where's the next person I need? Alright, well, wait, what? Who's on this team? This isn't the wounded one, is it? Oh, this is full strength. Let's just speed through this one and wind up introducing some of our various new monsters. Aqua Dragon made its international debut and only appearance in the second McDonald's promo set. In Japan, it debuted in Booster 4 and reappeared in Japan's Tournament Pack Volume 1. Now, as I've mentioned, some cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Are awesome but impractical. Aqua Dragon is impractical without being awesome. To even get this in the first place, you had to be fairly lucky turning up at McDonald's, which meant enduring primordial slop or cardboard or whatever it is they put in there masquerading as food. Playing it meant you would give up 4 cards to summon a monster weaker than Summoned Skull, which needs just 1, so you're essentially minusing 3 in materials to bring out something that's not very good. Even then, at the time, only one of its fusion material monsters was released with it. Fairy Dragon and Amazon of the Seas weren't released until 2 years later, so because this required 3 fusion materials, you couldn't use fusion substitutes. This was terrible. Suijin made its international debut in Metal Raiders, and over the years it's reappeared here and there. In Japan, it debuted in Volume 5. Suijin is the Shinto god of water, so this monster's international name is actually quite fitting. In Japan, it's named Demonic Water Deity Suga. Kazujin actually shares that naming convention. Sanger of the Thunder doesn't share the same naming convention in the international versions. Suijin does indeed share its effect with its comrades Kazujin and Sanger of the Thunder, though overall it does seem to be a little bit lower in the pecking order despite actually being stronger than Kazujin. Normally, Suijin appears as a face and hands covered by a cloak, as you will see in this game with the kanji for water on its head. When forming Gate Guardian, it's stuck as the legs with its head as the crotch, a pretty unenviable position. I probably should have written more of this down in all things. Fire Kraken made its international debut and only appearance in Spell Ruler. In Japan, the exact same applies for their set titled Spell Ruler, which, funnily enough, was one of the 2 sets making up the international Spell Ruler. Now, at first glance, absolutely nothing stands out about Fire Kraken, since it has pretty average stats, and its name is also a really cheesy pun on Firecracker. However, Fire Kraken holds the distinction of being the first non-water aqua-type monster released in the game, and also the only fire aqua monster until Chemicritter Carbo Crab, released 16 years later. Many non-water aqua types exist, though it seems that light and dark are the most common attributes, but there's even an archetype of fire aqua monsters based on sushi and ships. How times change. Okay, so if you're watching the end of that battle there, the game really fudged the results to give me an incredible run and take out that Neck Hunter. That was probably undeserved. But that fight was essentially like a Zelda boss. We had tri-necks, haha. So now we can send Yugi up to the town of Kisuyan. These towns are pretty much remnants of places which were in the previous mission. Better build a healer, because unfortunately Time Wizard got its clock cleaned. And if the enemies wind up coming back, I don't really want to be wiping them out. I knew Fizzters should have taken on the first team. So let's switch the barricade off and get our trader so we can see what we get. Crap, basically. In the next mission, we don't get any new monsters and we don't get any opportunity to really go to traders. Unless we plan out very strategic tactics. You will, in due course, see why. Okay, dragon and machines. Mechbass has never made an international appearance, somewhat unsurprisingly. In Japan it debuted in Booster 4 and reappeared in Booster R2, so it's from way back in the old days. Now, I had a bit of dead air to fill, so I decided to challenge myself to see if I could discover anything remotely interesting about Mechbass. To the best of my knowledge, Mechbass is the first water machine type monster released in the game, and it's one of 2 normal water machine monsters. The other is Metal Fish, which has 1600 attack and 1900 defense. That's, well, it's sort of competing to be best out of 2, really. Only 10 other machines were released in the game prior to Mechbass appearing in Booster 4, and you can tell we're scraping the bottom of the barrel here. It's pretty crap, but at least I can dredge up something remotely interesting. So by one more after this, I meant one more chapter in this little arc. You might have guessed who our major antagonist is, and I don't think I actually got... What was the little story I was trying to tell? Yes, that's right, it was facing Whitney. Because... one of the problems... did I wonder... I can't remember if I wound up getting paralyzed or anything like that. But basically, it was kind of a... I'd managed to get my Onyx fairly well buffed defensively, but it was basically a test of, was I going to wind up flinching from Stomp? Was I going to wind up getting locked down because of infatuation? Was I actually going to get to do anything? Miltank was not exactly a threat. It was capable enough, but it was not a threat. Because I'd buffed my Onyx's defense so well. Basically, all I had to wind up doing was healing every so often and just waiting for the opportunity to actually do something. It was boring. And that's why things like that are just so irritating, because when you get the random number generator going against you, you don't get to do anything. Oh, that was lucky. It just makes for such a slow fight. It's so infuriating. Just not being able to do anything because the RNG decides that you don't get to do anything. In all fairness, there's a lot that kind of demonstrates how statistics work, and yes, those powerful attacks can wind up whiffing. But there is, while I have been discovering a fair bit to the contrary, there is some evidence that in the Pokemon games, basically the AI does wind up fudging the results of so-called random number generators. Especially in places like the Battle Tower and the Battle Frontier. Because in the Battle Tower, in Generation 4, people have hacked in, quote-unquote, Wonder Tomb. Spiritomb with Wonder Guard. At the time, nothing could hurt it. However, there was a glitch in the game that basically meant Firefang could somehow hit through Wonder Guard. It was an oversight or something like that. What's a defensive slot machine? I'm not hitting through that. So basically, what had happened was, because of this trend, if you hacked in Wonder Tomb, eventually you would wind up noticing that pretty much all your opponents actually happen to have Firefang in their moveset. They just conveniently happen to have Firefang. Sort of like how you would conveniently run into opponents that would conveniently have one-hit KO moves that would always conveniently hit. Probably one of the most egregious offenders of RNG is a Quick Claw Horn Drill Ride-On. Speaking of drills, so, like, sometimes you can get some incredibly unlucky runs, sometimes you can get some very lucky runs. There is a thing called perception bias. Or, no, confirmation bias, that's it. Confirmation bias basically means that we will generally ignore the very good things that happen to us, but we'll always pick out the really bad things. I'm incredibly guilty of that. And I'm working on that. Nice. See, there we go. Something good that happens to me and I would shrug it off. Well, we've got solid results. Man, Panther Warrior's going to get jacked very quickly. Well, might as well wind up finishing off strings with Tristan's team. Nice, the compatibility is very good. It's just the Giant Soldier of Stone's AP really stinks. So yeah, that's an interesting little bit of RNG. I mean, even in real life, you can wind up getting those moments where you produce that amazing anime draw to save the game and turn it around. Of course, the anime never shows the main characters getting a brick hand or anything like that. So that bit is probably unrealistic. But there's maybe not necessarily true random number generation because people have always managed to find ways to work around it. Just how it goes. You can manipulate the RNG in some cases, like the GBA Fire Emblem, in order to get level ups you want. There we are, Talanosis liberated.
Humph. You've done well, Yugi. For today at least, victory is yours. That voice! Bakura! I'm not as easily controlled by Scott's tricks as your friends. I wanted to use him, and after a little bargaining, he gave me the military force I needed. To what end? What are you planning? Ha ha ha! If you defeat me, I might be inclined to tell you, especially since this is my big moment in the spotlight and I want to milk it for all it's worth. Everybody rags on poor little Bakura, but I've been sitting there biding my time, waiting for stardom to come my way, waiting to take my revenge. I'm in Makad right now. Come get me. If you really want to know, you'd better hurry.
So, what sort of ominous threat is confronting us? We'd better hurry on to the next chapter. So until next time, this is Red 2, returning to base.